What's up, everybody? Welcome to Amla Green Live. My name is Corey, and with me, I have Dr. Cyrus Kambata in the house. What's going on, Cyrus?
What up? How's your Friday?
My Friday is good. You know, I had my Amla Green coffee this morning, and I have some sad news to report. It is empty. So I'm going to need to get some more.
It's funny. I have been receiving a lot of like text messages and phone calls from people who like friends who have tried out the coffee. And a lot of people are like, whoa,
yeah,
how do I get my hands on more of this stuff?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, are you just saying that because you're a friend of mine? Or are you saying that because you actually like it? And I've gotten a lot of good feedback from people being like, no, the flavor is really good. I get a very good, feeling afterwards. I got a lot of energy. It lasts for a long period of time. I'm loving it. And I'm like, this is fantastic. I'm loving hearing this.
All right. Well, listen, folks, we're here for just a short time. Okay. And if you're here, we love you. We see just a couple of you here coming in live. Let us know where you're watching from, because that's very important to us. And then in addition to that, hey, what's going on, Steven? All right. In addition to that, we're going to be talking about coffee. All right. And we're going to not let you leave without giving you a great discount code that you can use on coffee.
Heck yeah.
But I want to talk, Cyrus, about the relationship between, three things. Okay. And I wrote them down here: caffeine, Amla, and diabetes. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the relationship between those three. Now, of course, as everyone knows, Cyrus is the co-founder and one of the New York Times bestselling authors of the book, Mastering Diabetes, and he follows the Mastering Diabetes method. For anyone who doesn't know, he's living with type 1 diabetes. And ultimately, when you hear about coffee, it's one of those things, Cyrus, right? People are like, oh, caffeine, I don't do caffeine. No, it's bad. It's bad, right? And I think to say that it's bad in general is, there's a little caveat there, right? I think my opinion, and I'm going to let you, who has the PhD in nutritional biochemistry, I'm going to let you tell me if what I'm saying makes any sense.
Yep.
But for me, I think caffeine in moderation, when used at the right times to enhance your physical performance before exercise, which is how I use it, might be very effective. I give you the floor, sir.
Absolutely. It's funny that we're talking about caffeine, because when we were writing the Mastering Diabetes book, let me go backwards in time. Let me go backwards. Okay. You said a couple minutes ago, let's talk about the intersection between caffeine and amla berries and diabetes. I'm going to modify that. Caffeine and amla berries and blood glucose. This is not a story about diabetes. This is a story about blood glucose control and whether or not amla berries can aid in glucose control and whether or not caffeine has a place in glucose control as well. So if we sort of generalize it just a little bit, if we go back in time, when we were writing the Mastering Diabetes book, we started doing a bunch of research on caffeine because empirically what we were experiencing was that there were a lot of people who would drink caffeinated beverages in the morning, namely coffee, and then they would actually have a harder time managing their blood glucose in the afternoon. And so we were like, it's interesting, because the coffee drinkers definitely have more issues in the afternoon and the non-coffee drinkers have less issues. And so we started doing a lot of research to try and figure out, is this just like a random observation that we have, or is this actually real? And I'll read you just a couple of lines here from our book, because this is like really important stuff that I'd like to be able to like be very clear about, the role of coffee and caffeine in general. Okay, let me just get fast forward here. So there's a study that shows that data from more than 300,000 participants show that people who consume soda in particular, are 26% more likely to develop type 2 diabetes. And this is soda that often contains caffeine. Okay. So that soda is not good for you. I know it, so we don't really need to talk about that, okay?
Yeah.
But when it comes to coffee, research suggests that it could have some negative metabolic effects, but doesn't necessarily always true, okay? A single cup of coffee containing 80 milligrams of caffeine, which is typical, has been shown to dramatically reduce the ability of blood vessels to dilate by as much as 72%, depending on how many cups of coffee you drink. Okay. So 1 cup of coffee can reduce blood vessel dilation. And that's not necessarily a good thing, because when blood vessels dilate, that actually increases oxygen delivery to tissues. Okay. However, it was recently discovered that drinking caffeinated coffee reduced insulin and C-peptide in those same subjects, which means that it's also potentially impairing your ability to manufacture insulin, which itself is not necessarily a good thing. Okay. Both of these findings suggest that caffeinated coffee can impair your cardiovascular health, and your glucose metabolism simultaneously. All right.
Okay.
However, let's go to the exact opposite side. In opposition to this, research shows that drinking coffee actually has positive metabolic effects. Researchers found that drinking caffeinated coffee improves fasting blood glucose, meaning lowers fasting blood glucose, and blood glucose control, and reduces hyperinsulinemia, which is high insulin levels in both men and women. Okay. Another research group found that those who drank 5 cups of caffeinated coffee per day, I don't know who's drinking 5 cups a day, but some people do, okay, experienced 1.5% lower fasting blood glucose, which is a very small number, and 4.3% lower post-meal blood glucose. So maybe it had an effect, maybe it didn't, okay? Other research shows that men who drank 5 or more cups of caffeinated coffee per day experienced a 55% reduced risk of developing type 2 diabetes. That's kind of a big deal.
Okay.
And women who drank 5 or more cups of caffeinated coffee per day experienced a 73% reduced risk in comparison with those who drank 2 or fewer. All right. So what does all of this mean? What this means is that coffee can be a very individual, it can have individual effects. It can affect you differently than it can affect me. Some people are hypersensitive to caffeine and it can get them feeling a little jittery and sweating. And other people are like, no, what are you talking about? I can drink caffeine and I can go to sleep and nothing's wrong. Okay. So what we recommend in particular when it comes to coffee and blood glucose control, or caffeine and blood glucose control, is that you do experimentation yourself. If you're drinking black coffee on a regular basis, do your best to prepare coffee in a way that retains the highest amount of antioxidant and polyphenol content, because those are the behind the scenes players that can give you the positive metabolic benefits. So you want to retain those polyphenols and you want to retain those antioxidants. Okay. The way to do that is to, number 1, store your beans in an airtight container.
Okay.
Okay. And then number 2, if possible, grind your beans just before brewing. That's not possible when you purchase Amla Green coffee because we've already ground it for you.
Yep.
Okay. And then number 3, refrain from adding milk and other dairy creamers to your coffee, because that's going to give you the best effects. So is that helpful?
That's super helpful. In fact, I think that you just covered all 3 of them, right? Caffeine, Amla, and diabetes. We're going to talk about Amla in a second here. I do want to give you guys some love. All right. So I want to make sure that I put up a code. This is a special code for you. So we're into the show, but I want to give you this. Green 10. Just use the code Green 10. It'll give you 10% off coffee or anything in the store that's not already discounted, right? So it's not going to work on bundles because you can save like freaking 20, 30 bucks. It's a lot of money, right? So, but coffee itself, now there's, you can buy in bulk or you can subscribe and save either way, but you can get, 10% off with that code. And the only place you can get that code is right here on this live. Okay. So if you want to check it out, go give it a shot. Like I said, this is mine. And I'm just going to talk about it for one more second, if that's okay, guys. What does it taste like? Well, I'm going to read to you tasting notes. Milk chocolate. There is no milk in this product. There's no dairy. Okay. Just to be clear. It tastes like milk chocolate. Okay. Orange zest and stone fruit. Now, Cyrus, do you know what a stone fruit is?
Yeah. A stone fruit is like a peach or an apricot or a nectarine. It's got a giant pit in the middle.
Okay, perfect. And this is organic, folks. Organic. All right, 100%.
Yep.
Okay, so yes, I think what you did was you answered the question, because that question to me was, oh my gosh, is caffeine hurting me? And I think what you just proved at a biological level is that it can be helpful at certain stages in either your fasting journey or either in your diabetes journey to help you keep things where they need to be, right?
Yeah, exactly right. In other words, let's put it this way. Don't be afraid that drinking coffee is going to make your glucose high. It is not necessarily a true statement. It can happen, but it also cannot happen, and it depends on you. It's kind of like alcohol, right? Some people are negatively affected. Some people have a very adverse reaction to hard alcohol. Some people don't. Other people have an adverse reaction to beer. Other people don't. Some people's glucose goes up with red wine. Some people's glucose goes up with white wine. Some people's glucose goes up just by looking at wine, right? It's a very highly variable subject. And that's why when it comes to alcohol consumption, in general, we recommend reducing it as much as possible. But if you choose to have it in your diet, then we recommend doing some experimentation to see how that affects you. The same holds true with coffee. Again, the most important thing that you can do is try and preserve as much antioxidant and polyphenol content as possible from the coffee that you're drinking. When you can do it that way, then you can maximize the positive metabolic effects, and then that will actually help your cardiovascular system and your glucose metabolism together.
This is beautiful. Listen, guys, this is a short show. All right, we're just hitting this real quick. We wanted to let you know that it's okay to drink coffee. Okay, but ultimately, it matters a lot about what you put in it. Okay, don't put milk in your coffee. For darn sure, please do not put sugar in your coffee. All right. Cyrus, if you want to make your coffee taste a certain way, is there something that you could put in your coffee that, I don't know, comes in the colors of purple, red, green, that might make it taste with a hint of something? You see what I'm doing here, man? You see what I'm doing?
I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, yes, I do. Here we go. Okay. The thing that what Corey is hinting at is that we have, so Amla Green is basically a collection of products that contain Amla berries in them, right? So if you look on the screen right here, what Bess is showing you is that we have the original flavor, which is in green on the very left. Okay, that's Amla berries plus green tea together. That is a caffeinated product, but it is about half as caffeinated as coffee. The second one, which is red in the middle of your screen, that contains hibiscus, mint, ginger, and cinnamon. Incredible flavor. The next one is a decaffeinated version of the original green on the left. The next one is the elderberry flavor, which is elderberries plus mint plus ginger plus cinnamon. Phenomenal flavor. And then there's one more, which is pumpkin spice, a little bit lower on the bottom left. And that pumpkin spice is exactly what you predicted it would taste. It tastes like pumpkins. It's got some cloves, it's got some cinnamon, and it has a really deep pumpkin spice latte type, flavor to it. So here's my recommendation. If you are already using one of those products, each one of those products contains a therapeutic dose of Amla berries, and we have titrated that dose to make sure that the amount of Amla berries that you get from one scoop of each one of those teas is actually a little bit greater than what we find in the research. Okay, that's equivalent to 4 grams of Amla berries. So we've done all the math in the background. You don't need to worry about it. And we know that when you take one scoop of that stuff, you get a really good, powerful, effective dose that gives you a biological effect, and that can help lower your glucose and cholesterol and blood pressure simultaneously. So if you're drinking those teas, you can drink it as just a tea, or you can take one scoop of that and you can stick it into your coffee, and you can effectively double your dose of Amla inside of the coffee. Okay. It actually makes your coffee taste even better. Surprise, surprise. And I highly recommend it. It's something that's really tasty.
Give it a shot. All right, people, listen, we're out of here. We are here for you. We are here every Friday at 1:30 Eastern, okay? Just for you. And we're so honored that you were here. Use the code GREEN10. Go try this coffee. If not, use it on something else. That code will work across the entire store as long as you're not trying to buy a bundle that's already discounted, okay? We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you soon. Cyrus, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks, guys.